Hi, I'm Dr. M. Kamakshay, open source software evangelist and also a freelance full stack developer. I decided to make a video cast on basics of R programming language. I've been doing this video cast in order to answer some of the questions from my student community, and also for people who is ambitious of career in data science and analytics. I would like to talk about fundamentals of data science and analytics in this video. Possibly, I may also extend my demonstration so as to explain data analysis and statistical analysis. Otherwise, I have to divide the entire. I may have to go for the series in which I have to make the videos part by part to make it more feasible for the viewers. In this video I'm going to show you how to get or obtain RStudio and then set up in your computer and then start. I'm not going to show you how to install this software. I'm just going to show you some of the very first information source for R programming language is r-project.org. So you don't need. Data science is evolving, and there is no, as it is evolving, there is a need for highly standardized content, and people are suffering whenever they go to some training institutes, and the instruction as well as the material is not as standardized as expected by the industry. So you don't need any teacher, or you don't need a university or maybe a school to learn data science and analytics, because now it is in its baby steps, and there may be more standardized ways of teaching as well as material in the industry, and it is highly expected and need of the hour in data science and analytics. As far as the present times are concerned, you don't need any teacher as most of the people think, but only thing is I am the best example for a person who is not into the computer science and analytics. I'm no way connected to computing, but I started developing a special interest in this in the field of computing, and the only way I can connect to this computer sciences is through business management. Then I thought of adopting business analytics as one of the important areas of my professional occupation. Keeping that aside, what I mean to tell you is that you can just make a self-study and transform yourself as a beautiful data scientist and as well as analyst. So now coming to R, there are so many umpteen number of ways to get into data science and analytics. One of the technologies or the programming languages which is very much useful is R programming language, and you need to go to this website r-project.org. This is the official website where most of the official activity related to our language is available. R is not just R, actually this is GNU R, GNUR, means whenever you are downloading R, actually R is supplied, shipped. When you download R, actually you are downloading R along with its license, and the license is no public license. In short, it is called as GPL, and this GPL license is actually one of the copyright mechanisms. Actually, it is copyleft, not the right. Copyleft mechanisms of GNU. You have to go to GNU or GNOME, I think. The main activity is new.org, something like this. So it is new or not. So they have quite a few. This is actually the official website for most of the open source and free software, as you can see here, free software activity. And this was started by very great philanthropists in computing industry. And anyway, that is the background of many of you may not like the history, because we Now you have to go to this. I am again and again telling the same thing. Our project, our dash project.org. Then to obtain, or you have many things. I may not be able to explain you each and everything. Left side you have the sections. You have to go each and every section and read what are there, and you need to comprehend. I mean, much of the information is available from the left side sections, and it is very very important for a seeker. I mean, learner or a beginner of R programming language. Most important thing is CRAN. This is official. CRAN stands for Comprehensive R Archive Network, and this is the place where you get a lot of add-on software. We call them as packages. I should not call add-on or add-in. It is a package. You can go to any some mirror, and there you will find there are thousands of packages available for every pretty need of the data scientist and also analyst. In this video I just wanted to concentrate on how to obtain R, and I'll leave all these things for your curiosity and enthusiasm. And now to obtain R you have to press on this link, download R, and then you will be redirected to a page where there are mirrors. There will be mirrors. You can choose one of the mirrors just like this. You will come up and now R is available for Linux, OS X and Windows. You have to go to Windows. Since I am producing this video cast inside Windows, for Windows people, this is the in Linux you don't need to download R. You just have to go to terminal and use sudo apt-get install or base or dash base, something like that. This is base. When you press on base, then the present version is 3.6.2 for Windows, and you have to press on this to download. I already downloaded and installed in my computer. I'm going to show you. So once you, it is pretty straightforward. You don't need to struggle much. You just have to right click, run as administrator, and then you just have to keep pressing next, and after installation, just like any other software, there is nothing special about installing R inside. Now once after you install R, it is called new R. You have to press R in your start, Windows start, and then you see two different. I also installed the editor. I'll go to this. I'll talk about this editor a bit later, within a couple of minutes after. This is what is actually the R, new R. When you press this, your R console will start like this in Windows. Now, once you open the R, there will be very small window at the left top corner of the RGUI. This is called RGUI 32-bit software, and now it is still starting, and in no time you will be able to see the R prompt. This is how your RGUI looks like, and this is the place where you start executing the statements. And anyway, we are not going to use this RGUI. This is just a minimal arrangement for Windows people. You don't get this kind of arrangement in Linux, so that way Windows people must be very much happy that they at least have a console and as well as a window. But in Linux and Mac OS, you need to start your R from the terminal. Okay, I'm going to minimize this. And now there is an editor, very popular editor for R, that is called RStudio. There are many editors, but RStudio is very, very efficient, reliable, and also you have to search like this, RStudio download. And then if you have the 32-bit machine, then you have to go to the older versions of RStudio, or if you have a 64-bit machine, you can just click on the very straight URL. Your link is very straight forward. You just have to right click and open. If you have 32-bit machine, then you have to go to the older versions. Anyway, I have 64-bit machine in for my practice, and I'm going to show you how to download the 64-bit version. You have RStudio desktop, and you also have the server. And the RStudio server, both server and desktop, both of them are free. Right now I'm going to show you how to deal with through RStudio desktop, because most of the, I'm going to adopt I assume that you are into the practice of R. If you are a developer, then you have the RStudio. If you are into practice or testing purposes, you have R desktop, which is free. You just have to press on this button, download, and then you will get RStudio software. And then after, you have to right click and run as administrator. You will open a, I mean, after you install, it is straightforward. You just have to right click, run as administrator, and then keep pressing next, 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 next. Now after you install RStudio, we have to go to the start, Windows Start button, press on Windows Start button, and then use RStudio. Search for RStudio just like this. Excuse me. And then it is not showing anything because my computer is a big junk box. Don't worry. Should be able to fetch the correct link for you. Then you have to press on this, then that will launch a desktop like this. The very first time when you open RStudio, it looks like this. There won't be anything here in the right. There are four panes. Actually, when you open, there will be only three window panes. You will be having the left side, you have the console. This is the same console which I have shown you as our console. And then right side top, you have few arrangements like environment, history, connection, something like that. And right side bottom, you have few other arrangements like files. This is the home folder in your computer, and then you have the plots. Then you have a tab for packages, and your packages is my computer. I mean, RStudio is very slow because, as I said, my machine is a big junk box. There's a lot of it will take quite a bit of time to get the details. Then you have the help. This is very, very important for you. And then you have the viewer. So this is how you need to understand RStudio. And once you are inside the console, this is there is another thing which I forgot to tell you. When you press on file, and by the way, you need to understand all these menus, and each menu has got a sub menu. When you press on file, there is a sub menu called new file, and here you have R script. This is for writing the scripts of R. As you know, R is actually a functional programming language. Whatever we write is a function, and there are two ways to work with R programs. That is in interactive mode, just like here. This is going to the console and then executing the statements. And the second one is the script mode. You can write the R scripts, and you can either execute from the command, or you can execute right inside this RStudio. Now I'm going to show you in interact mode. Suppose if this is actually the very fundamental information about the RStudio, your R console. It's not RStudio. If you want to know RStudio, you have to go to here, and you have something called about RStudio. Now this will get you some information as what is RStudio and all everything. I leave all these things for your curiosity, and I'm going to show you how to deal with data, because that is R is used for data science and analytics. I need to talk about how to perform the data analysis, and also, I mean, whenever I call data analysis, it also implies to statistical analysis, but statistical analysis is a bit different. Though there is a lot of disagreement that both of them are same, data analytics and statistical analysis. But today we call data analytics, not statistical analysis, analysis or analytics. Gone are the days for statistics. Now everything is data science and analytics. Now, once you open RStudio like this, you can start working with what I'm going to do. I'm just going to show you how to simulate few data sets, and for time being I just close this script file because I'm not going to write the script. Now what my strategy for this demonstration is like this. I just simulate a few data variables, and then I combine them and try to show you how to do analysis on that. Now R is very popular for, I mean, it is actually the language of statistics, so it is used for statistical analysis, and can also, today it is data science metamorphosed into data science. Data science is the combination of mathematics, statistics, and quite a few other computer science and etc etc etc. Now what I'm going to do, I just create an object. Whenever you would like to create an object in R, you need to mention the name. You have to give some name to that object. Now I'm going to create an object called X, and which is followed by a less than symbol with a dash. You also call this as hyphen in computer sciences. These two symbols together is referred to left assignment operator in R. Okay, but anyway, there are different types of operators, and that is beyond the scope of this video. You can I leave it for your preparation and study and preparation. You just I mean, today you don't need a teacher for, you can just go online, and Google is there for every petty need of the, I mean. Now I'm going to create the object called X. You can just name it as anything. You can call it Y, or your name with with my name MK I can call, or anything, whatever it is. Now there are a few ways to, I'm going to create a linear number series. In simple, it is referred to a vector. Now there are different ways to do that. Suppose if I want to create a number series starting from 1 to 10, we have a beautiful operator called colon. This is 1 to 10, something like that. You can call it as 2. There is nothing wrong. So this particular statement means that I would like to create, first let me just execute this simple statement 1 colon 10 and see what's going to happen. So you see R returns a number series starting from 1 to 10. Now what are you going to do with this? Just creating a vector is nothing, is not going to yield anything to you back. Now it is better to save that number series into a particular object. As I said, I'm going to create an object. It is always better to maintain some spaces, because X is an object and this is an operator. Both of them are different. It is always better to distinguish these objects with particular space parameter. Now there is space again here, and now same operation, 1 to 10. This is one way, or the otherwise I can just do, you can make use of your upper arrow in your keyboard and you will walk into the history. This previous command is already available from the history. If you go to the history somewhere, you'll be able to find your command here. You can just double click this so that you'll get that here. Now I just press the home button to go to the starting of the statement, and then call it as X, left assignment operator. Now press, this time R will not give you any numbers back to your console. It will save all the number series into this object called X. Now in order to see what is there in that X, you just have to press X and then press enter, so that you will get all the information which is saved inside this object. Now what is this object? This is just a vector. Suppose if I want to know what is this object inside R, I have a command called type of X. Now this is an integer, right? Suppose if I create let me see, I don't exactly, this time I call it as Y, and this time I call 1.5 to 10.5, something like this. There is nothing wrong doing, it's all up to us. Like now this time we have, let's see what is this. I already have that command in history. Now this time I just have to delete and press Y. Now this time this shows it is double. In R, any float value will be referred to as double. It is not an, this is integer and this is double. These are what is called data types in R. There are two types of very important things every programmer need to know. They are data types and data structures. Now as far as data types are concerned, three of the major data types is, number one, two of the major data types is numbers, and then these are not data types actually. There are numbers and there is text. And numbers, there are integers and there are double. In R we call double. In other languages you may call that with other name like float, fraction, something like that. There are many things. And there is another thing called text. Suppose if I have I call text, it is an object, and here whenever I want to save some text, I have to make inverted commas, and inside this I put my name and then press enter. If you have done your statements correctly without any mistakes, then you should be able to finish that activity uh, without an error. If there is an error, suppose if I make the statements, I intentionally make an error, and you see it will behave in an odd manner. Now it is expecting an inverted comma from me, and then I can finish the statement with fulfilling the requirement. And now this time I have my object. In that object I got an MK. Actually, this is not the way. Let me do this in a proper fashion. Now when I press this, you see you just got MK, right? Since we executed a new line, there is a new line operator inside this text. This is text. Now type of, now you have txt, and you see here it is character. So the text is referred to character in R. Now create let me show you. I have shown you how to create the vector, and this time I am going to show you how to create the a factor. A factor is just a list of text elements without having a numeric value. Suppose if I say text, and then this time, since I am using non-numerical data, I'm going to create a vector of non-numerical data. I need to use an operator, as just like I shown you how there is a colon operator. There is another operator called C. This is, I don't know what is exactly, this is called C operator. Maybe for C stands for concatenation, or I don't know exactly, but there is no description for this. We simply refer to it as C operator. And now I can put all the text inside this C. Now I just create C 3 letters, and now type of, and then text. This is again character. You see, same, but this time there is an additional property. I think I am expecting a particular property, and that is again class is also. There are two things. There is a type and class. Now let's say both of them are character in text-based data variable. Now let's see what is X class, and that should be an integer again. So it is integer here, it is integer here. But there are few data types, just like data frame and data matrix. They are not characters and integers. Let me thoroughly create a matrix. In R, you got a beautiful function called matrix. Suppose if you don't know anything about matrix, and you just know that there is a function matrix, and you don't know how to make use of it, then you have a beautiful function called help. You can just use this function help, but you need to put the function name inside inverted commas. Now when you press this, in right side you see you got a beautiful documentation. This is a manual page in which you got a lot of information. You can also disband this from this left down window or pane, and read it in a separate window by pressing this particular button. Now this is the very last. You have to just go to the dead end of the manual, where you will find a lot of information as in the form of examples, and you can either just copy this and paste in your console, or you can just read, understand, and then practice in your own way inside this console. Now since I know what is matrix, I'm just going to tell you regardless of the manual. Now I'm going to create a data set. I just call it as a set. Let me clear my console by pressing Ctrl L. I'm going to create a data object. I call it as DS, which stands for data set. You can write anything. It is just your name. You are going to create a user object, and your object you can name with any word. Now this object is going to be a matrix. In this, when you type matrix and open parenthesis, whenever you close the parenthesis, then it will show you all the arguments in list. Now it is expecting data. number of rows, number of columns by row, dimension, dim names, and the object ds. This is not important for us. We have to first keep some data. Now what I'm going to do, I am just going to create a matrix of 1 to, we need to have a design. A matrix has rows and columns, and together it is referred to as order. We call m by n or n by m order, where in m by n, m stands for number of rows and n stands for number of columns. Now suppose if I want to make 10 by 10 column, then I need to have 100 elements. So 10 by 10, 10 tens are 100. Now I want to make 10 rows and 10 columns, and then by row, this is one very interesting argument available in this function matrix. I can just choose by row. If you use true, okay, this is how boolean operators are used inside OR, and it is going to fill that matrix in row wise. If you say false, if you mention false, then the matrix is filled by column. Usually in data science analytics, every column is a data variable. It is always better to fill by column instead of by row, so that we may be able to mimic it as. So when you press this, then your or is silent, which means it has done some work for you, otherwise it will eject error. Now let us see what is there in this object. You just have to write the name of the object and then press enter. Now you see we have a beautiful matrix with their respective indices. Now this is the index number for the matrix, I mean column 1, this is the index number for column 2, this is the index number for column 3. Now suppose if I want to get only column 1 ds, then same way as it is mentioned in the header of this data structure. Now create the same type of notation, open a square bracket and then comma and then press 1. This will yield you the very first column in this matrix. Suppose I want the 10th column, then I have to put 10 here. By the way, whenever, let me execute this statement. Now you got 91 to this same, exactly the same, 91 to 100. Now by the way, whenever you open a square bracket, RStudio automatically opens the closing side of the bracket. Now inside this bracket there will be comma. Before comma, this position is for rows and this position is for columns. Suppose if I put 1, which means first row, very first row, and then if I put 10, it means that get me the value of very first row in column number 10, which means it should be 91. Let's execute this and see it is going to be 91. Now I can also manipulate this value. Suppose I want, instead of 91, I want it as 90, which I cannot do, but ds, I think I already have that in the history. And now left assignment operator and then 90. Now let's see, this time I go to ds. You see here, instead of 91 I got this way. You can also access the columns, you can also assign the values. I can, instead putting a number, I can also give a text. I mimic as if there is a missing value at this position in first row 10th column. I assume that there is, I mean, just when we gather data, there is a lot of missing values. Sometimes the data goes missing, and now when you press ds, you see this data is missing. So this way you can just do quite a few kinds, type of activities inside OR. Now this is, let us see what is this data structure. This is a double. So by default R assumes that the data inside this data matrix is double. Now let's see what is the class, and the class of this object is matrix. It is not a double. Earlier you see here a double is both type is double and class is double, but this time both the type and class are different. Now I'm going to introduce you a new data structure, which is data frame, and R is very popular for this particular data structure known as data frame. So we already have a data matrix. Let me convert this into a data frame. If that is my objective, now I'm going to create a user object. First let me clear my console. This time I call as df, which stands for data frame. You can give any name as you like. You don't need to do this. And you have a command called data frame. You see, you will start seeing the intelligence inside or which will suggest you the um, it will guess what is it will try to understand your guessing and try to and show you the possible ways of putting comments here and data frame, and then I need to put ds data. I mean, this is the object where we have the matrix, right? Now press enter. Now you got data frame. You see, this time you don't have indices. These are not the indexes for each column. Now your names of the data structure converted into uh, uh, turned differently. Now you have x1, x2, x3, which means it mimics like a data set of the type data frame, and you have variables to use for analysis. So instead of doing analysis on indices, it is easy to do indices on names. Now you got a beautiful property called names for this data frame. You see, you got, now I can call by name each column. I can call by name and perform analysis. Now this time if you use the type of df, it is list. You see, it is not double. Earlier in when we are dealing with matrix, it was double, and class, it was matrix earlier. Now let's see what is this. It is data frame. This is data structure. This is another data structure. Earlier double, it is a data type. Integer, it is a data type, and character, it is a data type. Now we are trying to understand the structures. Now there is another structure called array. Anyway, that is very there are tuples, there are sets, and there are all damn things inside all. But anyway, that is beyond the scope of this video. I just wanted to show you the fundamentals. Now that now I'm going to talk about a peculiar concept. That is fine. We got the data. We came to know how to deal with data sets inside R, but that is not how we do data analysis, right? We most of the time perform data analysis on external data sets. Our data most of the time will be there inside Excel. Now what happens? I'm going to create thoroughly I'll just create it. And actually you don't need to create data. Data will be there. You either gather that, collect that data through some survey or maybe from some secondary sources. Now I just thoroughly create kind of data. I'm going to have three socioeconomic variables, and here I call these are age, gender, education, and then I'm going to have some study variables. I call them as S1, S2, S3, and you can call anything, doesn't matter. Just this is how I am comfortable in creating. I'm going to use ran between inside Excel, and this age is going to be 22. It makes sense to me to include people who belongs to the age group of 20 to 80, and now I just fill down in Excel, and now I just copy paste, because gender, I think it is male female, something like this. Again female. Now I just copy this. No, you're not going to create data. Usually you will be having data. Please be cautious. Since I don't have data, I'm just simulating thoroughly. I'm simulating data set very very thoroughly inside my Excel. I'm trying to be very fast. So whenever I'm fast, and education, you have primary, you have secondary, and you have higher. Okay, it is up to you. It depends on your research strategy. You need to define your education, I mean the scale, measurement scales for your research. Now I'm just going for I'm going to use a Likert scale. I use the same ran between, but this time 1 to 5 items. That is how I think of having. Now fill right. Now save this. One fundamental thing is better save this as a CSV file and save in anywhere in your computer where it is easy for you to pick up the file. And I'm going to I just use some temporary folder, so that and now inside this I just save it as I don't want I got sample data, something like this. And now please be cautious. You have to save this as a comma separated value file, because R is open source software, and it easily accepts the open. Not that you don't accept Excel files. You can also import Excel file inside R. But you need to have a couple of packages. Just a single package XLSX. It is freely available online, but I am a bit lazy. I don't want to. I am comfortable with CSV file. Now, how to get that data? This data is there in my computer somewhere in some temporary folder, somewhere inside my computer. Now I am just going to get this. This is what is called importing. This particular operation is called importing. Now I call mydf, because this is going to be data frame, read CSV. You see your R starts intelligence. It's not intelligence, it is intelligence, which means it is trying to help you. Since we can't remind all this, it is read CSV. Soon after you execute this, I mean you fill this command, then there is another command called file choose. There are a number of ways to get this file. Either you can just put the raw path inside this parenthesis, but I don't want to do all that, copy paste and copying pasting the path address here. I just make use of this feature called file choose. So when I execute the statement, and R will open the browser, you see here, this is the browser. I can just go to the place where I think I have temporary. Where is the temporary? Yes, temp, and inside this I have CSV file. Now I am saving this. I'm creating a user object called mydf, and this file is going inside this object. Okay, now that data is there inside this object. Now let us open this file. When I press, you see you got the same data that which you have. You see here I have the data here. You see you can compare the same data set I got inside the R. Now we can, once you got the data like this, you can perform any damned analysis. Okay, this is just for this video. I think it is growing too longer. I'll stop my demonstration here. In my next video I'm going to show you how to deal with this data by performing some very basic and minimal statistical analysis, or maybe data analysis. Possibly I may explain you I can explain you how to deal with descriptive analytics. I'm going to put full stop at this point in time point of time in my demonstration. Thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned for new content. If you like my video, kindly press like button, and then don't forget to subscribe to my video channel. Thanks once again watching this video.